hinder this. I don't know the name of the IPL maps offhand, but as you
It
can
is
see,
Atlas, I
guys,
believe.
yeah, there's some cool new designs. A lot of these are going to be maps no one's really seen before because they're kind of unique to this. Some are old, some are somewhat new, and some have been revamped. But spawning in the lower right corner of the map, it's going to be the Red Terran playing for Team Killing Spree. It is Zepish.
Indeed. And his opponent in the bottom left-hand corner, spawning as the orange Protoss needs a little introduction from FXO. It is desRow.
Man, desRow has trained in Korea. He's done tons of high level play. I mean, I'm not surprised if FXO decided to send him out first. He's a strong player, and he's not going to be someone easy to take down. Now, I don't know the mechanics, and I actually don't know the roster off the top of my head of FXO.NA, but I do know that FXO in general has some amazing players. So, KillingSpree being somewhat newer to me, at least as a caster, I'm really rooting for these guys to make an upset in the scene.
Definitely. Like you're saying, desRow has had a lot of training. He's actually, I believe, his highest result last year was when 2012 was ran at 32 in the DreamHack scene. So he's done quite well there. Now, in terms of his opponent in Kepish, I'm looking according to their website. He is a Masters level Terran, and he's doing quite well at about you're 50% on the ladder. But I'm not sure what his tournament experience is like, and we'll have to
Yeah,
wait
I
and
mean, that
see.
can change everything. These are essentially, this is a best of 9 tournament, or, well, I guess King of the Hill format, but the reality is it's a best of 1. If you get knocked out, you're done, you're gone. That's it. So, I mean, Zepish, this is the thing, too, about these things. Like, if you had gone for, like, an 11-11 racks, caught desRow off guard or something, I mean, I think that's a big part of why Protoss players need to scout. You can knock someone really powerful out real quick by doing that, but I guess not going to be the case, especially with the awkward spawns here. desRow getting lucky with his scout, Zepish, not so much. This is a really cool statue of Marine, by the way, outside the base. BG's Clam Shack. Marcella's
Yeah.
Italian cuisine. This is awesome! I want to go here to eat, Baldy.
Now I'm not sure. Is there any limitations on spawning positions in here? Do we know if?
I don't know. Like I said, these are a lot of maps I'm unfamiliar with. I'm
Guessing if they're spawning horizontal, they can probably spawn anyway.
Yeah, I was gonna say because horizontal in pretty much any matchup is the worst way to spawn. But okay, let's talk about this actual matchup. So today, like I said, I've cast about a dozen of these already. One of the things I really liked and I really enjoyed seeing was Lucifron versus Todd. He went for this super Hellion, super all-in Hellion drop that really just messed up his opponent. Oh, I guess desRow getting a little bit of lag. But yeah, so I mean, a Protoss player, Todd actually just he was like, what do I do against this? Because a drop can get into your base before Warp Tech's finished. And I mean, what are you going to do? You have to scout it coming. But that's not what Zepish is doing here today. He's playing very safe and economically, go for the command center as well. And I'm really curious to see what his main goal for this is. A lot of players are forced to stick with Bio. You can't really use Mech against Terran and Wings of Liberty. It doesn't, the utility's not there like it is in Heart of the Swarm.
And even then, it's still a developing thing in Heart of the Swarm. It's definitely a lot more viable, but we'll have to wait and see.
Developing, Hellbats, same deal.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, how do you feel about this matchup, Wally? I mean, I know you haven't seen this map before. I haven't seen this map before, aside from watching a couple of the IPL streams. How do you think this is going to shape up?
Well, I'm trying to look at. I mean, one of the big things in this matchup you really want to look for is ramps, just like in PvZ and everything. Being able to utilize force fields and positioning on high grounds. It's kind of an interesting setup. They're relatively wide ramps, so
actually, there's not rocks blocking them either. But okay, Zepish actually going to be caught outside the bunker. Might just lose a Marine. Barely gets in there in time. The delay on the actual projectile from the Stalker not quite fast enough to catch that Marine, but I mean, right now Zepish should not be poking against desRow. It's not a good idea.
Yeah, interesting. He kind of really wanted to get that Zealot. The Zealot does leave with 22 health, so he took quite a bit of damage. The Probe was able to escape as well, so it's pretty standard start, with the Stalker and the Zealot. Bringing a Probe as well, perhaps in case he got in there. I'm not quite sure.
I don't know if you see my camera right now. The ramp between the main and the natural desRow, it's just kind of got an arrow. You don't know how do I use this ramp? Oh, thank goodness there's an arrow to show me how to get down. Thanks a lot.
It's a pretty long ramp.
Is that Tiger Woods, by the way, on that wanted poster? What is that? I don't know. It looks like Tiger Woods.
It's very Yeah, no, I'd put it out there if I was to say anything.
desRow is kind of keeping his opponent stuck in his base. These Marines can try and take these Stalkers on if desRow's not paying attention. He might lose the Stalkers, but no, very quick reaction time. Zepish does not want to poke out. He's got Marauders and Concussive Shell on the way. I mean, he's going to be able to crush these if he waits for them.
Yeah, with the first Marauder out in the field. I mean, he's really going to be looking to try and do a concussive shell on both of them so that they can slow down, the Marines can catch up, but we'll have to wait and see. If he catches one, he can pretty much guarantee at least one kill. Have to wait and see if desRow is quick on the move. He was very quick to react before, so I think desRow is going to be able to react relatively quickly. We have the Twilight Council on the way. We have 3 gates and a Robo.
I'm really hoping this will be Zealot, by the way. Or sorry, Zealot charged, not Blink. I'm looking at the layout of the map. Blink could easily be abusive here as well, so I don't want to say Blink would be a bad choice, but overall, from what I've seen today, Zealot Archon pushes are just so gosh darn strong, Baldy. Especially with charge.
Yeah, and like you were saying earlier, the fact that relatively, for the most time, Terrans are forced into that bio play. Protoss really opt for the AoE, whether it's Colossi or the Charger Archon. I really like the Charger Archon because, at Hold by Thought, we do have some force
nice
fields.
Force fields, yeah. Catching a couple Marines, but more importantly, keeping Zepish out of the base. Now, there's another ramp. Zepish is not choosing to utilize, I guess. Perhaps maybe being unfamiliar with the map. But okay, gonna poke in here one more time. And I mean, right now he's baiting out force fields. There's no more force fields left, so I mean, he's sacrificed a couple Marines to basically drain desRow dry. And I think, okay, there we go. He has discovered the other ramp, and desRow going for Blink on this map. Now, desRow, from what I've seen in the past, he really favors Blink on just about any map, any matchup. And Blink is a really useful mechanic. You can use it to abuse the terrain, but more importantly, you can use it to micro around in fights and keep your Stalkers alive just that much longer. In fact, desRow is the one who, I'm not sure if you saw this, Baldy, put out that really cool tutorial on how to properly blink in a line like up and down cliffs and stuff.
I didn't see it, but I did hear about it. So another thing as well, like you're saying, around Blink as a utility, I'm actually amazed. Like, I remember the first few times I saw it, like, somebody who can blink properly, blink micro effectively, their Stalkers just have so much more survivability. It's crazy how much more damage they can do before they go down. Just because they all are basically on 10 health before any of them go down, and by then you've whittled away at the Terran opponent. So, yeah, it's definitely a viable option. I'm trying to look at the map. It seems like it's relatively Blink.
I'd really like
happy.
I'd really like Zepish to start getting along with some drops. I mean, now we have Medivacs on the field, but unfortunately the Observer sees everything that's going on. But I mean, these bases have some nice airspace behind them. It's not really going to be too easy to maneuver around. And there's a lot of dead space in the north. So I mean, I'd really like to see some drop play happen, but we'll have to see how Zepish chooses to play it, because sometimes Medivac's just on the front lines, charging in, lifting over force fields and whatnot. Sometimes that's just the best thing to do.
One thing that's interesting to note is we have 3 observers on the field. It's quite common to get 2, and I think 3 is actually a nice amount, because you can see here...
Nice force fields from desRow.
Again, just chipping away again. Oh, nice scan. But just chipping away. Yes, he's using force fields, but equally it's not too bad if you're getting a few Marines and stuff with it. But like I was saying, we have an observer patrolling for any drops coming from the bottom left, and the observer just sees everything here at the front of the base, and we do see that first drop, but it's going to get spotted straight away. And the blink in,
oh, that is painful. That is not a good loss for our Terran player. You can't take hits like that, but that's the problem with having the observers. And look at where desRow's. He's got a nice patrol path here too in the lower part of the map. Zepish is going to have a hard time utilizing Medivacs. Now, I do like that he's already got Viking Sim production predicting that Colossus will be coming out. And in fact, yes, we have a Colossus on the field. Thermal Lance has started. desRow does not have any weapon upgrades yet, but they are on the way. Does he have double forge or no? No, only the one forge for now. So yeah, his upgrades are going to be a bit slow, but between Chronos, he'll have them when he needs them. Zepish getting caught a little bit.
Actually being very aggressive here, blinking offensively to try and chip away at some of the units. Gotta be careful not to probably blink one more time, because we are now approaching that high ground area. But again, desRow showing and trying to be as most effective with his blinks as possible. He's now actually pressing the point quite a bit here. These rocks are kind of really interesting. I'm trying to see how that could really affect, like that reduces the rush distance by quite a lot. I'm not sure how that would really come into an engagement going forward, but like we said, that original drop from Kepish, unable to do any damage, and with that, kind of, he's been limited in how much he's been able to pressure, because you can't, like you said, you can't just afford to lose 8 Marines or 4 Marauders or however much you have in the dropship there.
Yeah, well, I think a big thing for Kepish is he needs to start catching these observers. They're seeing him come from miles away, and desRow, as you point out, he's just able to pounce. He knows his army's out of position. Oh, look at that blink, Baldy. You see that? Like the second
Yeah.
Kepish stimmed, he was out of there.
Didn't even get a concussive out on him and force a stim as well. It's not too much of a big deal. These medevacs have quite a bit of energy on them, but again, any free little victories is what you want. Zella actually doing quite a nice patrol, or attack patrol, you should say, just checking for any kind of hidden expansions or anything like that. But looks like we might have an engagement relatively soon here, Rifkin, and SCV's being pulled.
Yeah, the SCVs, I don't know that I agree with this. The reason you pull SCVs early on is because the Protoss doesn't have anything to area of effect them down with. Now we got 3 Colossus that are just going to chew through these SCVs, Baldy. I'm a little bit worried about the Storm's actually halfway done complete too. And look at this, desRow is just turtling up with these force fields. He does not want to let Kepish into the base. Or sorry, Zepish, whoa. But there's more ramps. Tons of ramps on this map, tons of ways in. And ooh, these Vikings will get some nice free shots off. Not enough to really kill anything.
Yeah, I feel like it's a really hard map for Protoss to be able to come from all. Like, if I'm trying to look like theory here, like there are a few engagements coming. I think the Vikings just getting chipped away here. It's kind of a bit crazy. The Colossi are relatively safe now.
Yeah, desRow's getting some amazing blinks.
Yeah, I was thinking if you had like a maxed army or something, you might be able to poke from multiple locations. That might be pretty effective. But the mass stim in, the Storm has finished. Nice Storm, and there's not really much in the way
He's eating these storms too. That's not what you want to do. He has taken out most of the chunk of desRow's army, but the Immortals are alive. The Colossus are still alive. Archon's now being warped in, and we don't have Ghosts on the field. Game 1, GG.